Ciao Internet, Axon here, and today I want to talk a little bit about Xbox Game Studios. So what I want to talk about is the state of Xbox Game Studios as a whole, and after all these bad news happening in the last, I would say, month or so, and culminating in um, the release of Redfall, right? Which had bad reviews all around, bad press, and something happened after that, which is what you're seeing here, which is Phil Spencer going up on the kind of funny Xcast for an interview in which he is apologized for the state of Redfall and for the state of for the inconsistencies in Xbox Game Studios delivery, basically, right? Which is a topic that is very prominent in the gaming industry and in the gaming media at the moment, because, well, basically, Xbox fans are waiting for Xbox to get back on track, and have been waiting for a long time to for Xbox to get back on track, right? They had really rough years. Last years they basically haven't had any game releasing. The year before that, it was actually a nice year for Xbox first-party releases, but it was too little, too late, probably, to get to turn the narrative of Xbox Game Studio doesn't have good games, right, around. They didn't manage to turn that conversation back on itself, and now, after a year which had basically no releases from them, we started the year with Hi-Fi Rush, which was a very good game. It was a success. It was critically acclaimed. It was a surprise drop. Very, very nice all around. But it felt something that wasn't in the hand of Xbox. It felt like something that was in the works at Bethesda before the acquisition, and it was already a nice thing going on there. Something that developers had faith in, and they decided to. Even Xbox themselves said that the surprise release was an idea from the devs, right? So they were confident enough that the game would do well, and it did, and it showed. But then we got the bad news about the Activision deal being blocked by the CMA, which was, it's bad for them, of course. I wouldn't say it's bad for anyone else than Xbox themselves, and probably also Activision Blizzard. But it is something that circles in the news and makes Xbox look bad once again. And then we got Redfall, which was a travesty, right? The game wasn't ready. The game wasn't fun. Had also performance issues. Every games does these days. So what now? And what are my thoughts about the whole thing, right? I think now. So people are tired of hearing Xbox making excuses or asking or apologize to their fan base or something like that. The people are tired enough of this. They want to see results of the Phil Spencer direction, which has been going on for, I think, almost 10 years now, something like that. A long time. And you can see the results of him being in charge of Xbox in the service and how the service has been managed. The fact that their brand is no longer just a console brand, but it's a gaming brand that is spreading throughout different platforms like PC and mobile and stuff. So you can see the strategy happening, but it's not a vision that they are going to fulfill if they're not releasing actual good games, because you can say that Game Pass is great value and stuff, but like hardcore gamers are not looking exactly for value. They're looking for great games first and foremost, and then also value. So your winning formula would be having the value and the winning games, right, inside the value package that is Game Pass. Also, Game Pass has to like sort out some of other issues like the PC app, which is still bad. So they need also to fix that before like saying that their vision is working out. Even though if they had good games, I think people would easily overlook the issues on the Game Pass app on PC because the game they're actually playing are good enough, right? So I think they need to sort many things out. But as far as the like actual like game production goes, the thing that the thing that I can see is that when they went on an acquisition like flurry, they did it with something in mind that I think is not actually how they think it is, which is, okay, let's get entire publishers, because like the internal game studio stables is big enough, and it's also maybe too big for them to manage it properly. And we've seen like hints of those problems in other games, first party games like Halo and stuff like that, right? And so they thought, okay, let's get some publishers and integrate the publisher in a way that they are still very much independent in what they're doing, so we can be a little bit more hands off, right? And still get nice games in our services, exclusives and stuff like that. So they went and did that with Bethesda, thinking they would like be able to release nice games on their own. But I don't know why they were thinking that, since Bethesda has a long history of releasing games in an unfinished state, of releasing games that are sometimes I don't know how to say this. They release games that they are mostly critically acclaimed, but they have also like always had they always had issues, right? Either performance, bugs, glitches, like the old bug test memes and stuff, you know. And also, in my personal humble opinion, actually all the Todd Howard's games, so the main Bethesda Game Studios games, like the Elder Scrolls and the Fallouts and stuff, I don't think they're actually as good as people think they are. So people talks a lot about the Bethesda formula, the Todd Howard's magic formula for Western RPGs. I don't know what it is that makes these games so great in the eyes of the public. Probably more of the actual RPG stuff, like the decision making and all the aspect that makes the story change depending on what the player does. But I never felt compelled enough to learn about the story in these games, because I played Oblivion and Skyrim and a little bit of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 also, and just a little bit of Fallout 76. God forbidden why I did that, I don't know. It was bad. Spoiler, it was bad. And there is like something that I see in all of these games, which is, for me at least, uninteresting story. Very uninteresting story. There are more compelling stuff in the side quest than in the main quest line, especially in the Elder Scrolls games. And what I find myself doing all the time is just wandering around, maybe dungeon crawl a little bit, sometimes getting into a nice side quest change, doing that, and then dropping the game. And why is that? two main reasons. One, the main story for these games doesn't get me at all. I don't get hooked in those storylines at all. And two, the actual gameplay, like if you isolate just the gameplay, those are not great games, in my opinion. Like the combat has always been bad in Todd Howard's game. Always been bad. Elder Scroll has terrible combat. It's first person. You cannot tell the distance from your character and the enemies. Don't like feel impactful. The animation in the first person don't look good at all. I don't know. Looks bad. Feels bad. Feels laggy. Everything feels like I don't know. It doesn't feel like a AAA experience when you actually do combat in those games. It feels like a B tier game at most. And also the shooting in the Fallout series is garbage. It's basically garbage, right? You can say it's not a shooter. It's an RPG. You get the VATS and stuff like that. Yeah, the VATS. The VATS are cool, but the VATS, to me, look like something that they designed is to make the shooting more tolerable in those games. It's like it saves the game because it slows down the time and you can can more tactically do stuff. So it leans a little bit more in the RPG factor, right? But yeah, and the shooting is so bad that I don't know. So the gameplay doesn't feel good, especially if you play the game in third person. Never do that in any Todd Howard's game. Hopefully, Starfield would be different, but this is what happened up until now with those games. So they have this problem, in my opinion. I don't know why the public loves every Todd Howard game so much. I don't know. It escapes me, but And then you put also the bugs and the performance issue together with this, and I don't think you have a studio with a very so much of a consistent track record that you can say, okay, it's a nice investment to let them do whatever they do, right? If I was Microsoft, I would and I had the chance to get Bethesda, I would get them, but I would change how they do games very, very much, especially for the very nuances of gameplay mechanics, right? Controls, shooting, melee combat, and stuff like that. I would very much put my hands on and change stuff. But they got some consistent studios with the deal, with Bethesda deal. They got ID Software, which are extremely consistent with their games, and they are probably the best in the industry at optimizing games. So all their games run super well. And I hope that they get ID to teach every other studio about this in the whole Xbox Game Studios family, right? And then they got they got Tango, which is a hit and miss studio. They got Arcane, which is usually a banger hit studio, right? At least critically, they never did a game that's actually a commercial success. Their game don't sell very well, but they always very well received by gamers and critics. So I don't know. It wasn't the Bethesda Activision wasn't to me a very safe bet. They have a lot of fans, and it's disruptive for the industry. Such a big publisher getting basically exclusive under a platform holder, but I don't know. It wasn't the safest bet for me. If I were Microsoft at the time, I would have tried to get Capcom before it got out of hands, because now Capcom is unbuyable, man. because it's probably the only publisher that is not doing duds. It's not releasing duds. They always releasing good games, well-received games, hype games, well-running games also. Probably the only dud that I can foresee right now them releasing, it's the one with the dinosaurs. How the hell is called? Like Exoprimal. It was Exoprimal? I don't remember. I don't recall the name. I think it's Exoprimal. See, yes, I was right. Exoprimal. So, I tried the demo for that, like the beta, and it felt like a dud. But I don't know. There was some fun to be had in the game, but I feel it's gonna be repetitive in the long run. But we don't know. We'll see. But for anything else they are releasing, they're doing like banger after banger after banger. So if I was Microsoft at the time, I would have like campaigned to get Capcom instead of Bethesda. Also because they lack a lot of like Japanese games. So they got Tango. I'm gonna see what Tango does after Hi-Fi Rush. I hope they do something cool. This is one of the issues, right? Their acquisitions are not as relevant as people think, in my opinion, and they're not doing the Xbox brand anything good right now. And all of that could change with Starfield release, of course, and that's gonna be a very, very, very important moment for Xbox as a whole. Starfield release is important because it's the first big AAA game they release after the acquisition, and it's a new IP from the Todd Howard studio. This has to they also like delayed it a lot, so this has to be good, and not just good, not just okay, it's Fallout in space. I think it needs to be something more than that. Hopefully they fix some of the core mechanics of those games, like shooting and the movement, how the third person camera looks because it looks bad in the old games. So that's gonna be important. But to me, what's gonna be most important for Xbox Game Studios going forward is the actual like core Xbox Game Studios developed games, right? The games that they are developing more closely in-house. So not Bethesda, not whatever publisher they acquire next, but their own studios that they either acquired or created from scratch, right? So there are many games that they showed off 2 to 3 years ago in their like press conferences that we know nothing about, and I'm worried about some of those, because one of the best acquisitions they made, in my opinion, was Ninja Theory, because they're really good. They're really good. They did a really nice game with very few resources before being acquired by Microsoft, and Hellblade 2 can be the game that puts Xbox back on the map, even more so than Starfield, in my opinion, because it's an Xbox-made game. Ninja Theory was acquired in the early phases of doing the sequel, so it's mostly an Xbox effort, right? And that's gonna be accounted for when the game releases. And if it gets nice reviews, the game is great, as we hope it is. That's what will be make Xbox appear better in the eyes of the fans, right? Finally, the XGS redemption arc will start, in my opinion, with Hellblade 2, not with Starfield. And not only because I'm worried about Starfield being bad or just broken or stuff, because I think it will review well enough, just because it's a Todd Howard game. But it's just the fact that it's it's a first big new game released from Xbox Game Studios themselves, right? After the acquisitions and after like being basically left in the dark for a lot of time. So that's gonna be very, very important. There are some rumors that that game would come out this year. I don't know about that. And I'd say I don't know about that just because what we've seen so far of the game looks like tech demos or very, 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 very narrow vertical slice of the game, right? And we didn't see much in the way of action. We didn't see much in the way of actual gameplay loop. We see some in-game footage, but not like actual gameplay stuff. We didn't see game mechanics, what the game is. It is a simulation, like it is like more of a story-driven simulation game, like the first one. It is more of a God of War competitor. We don't know about that. We still don't know anything about that, and that's. I think if the game would release this year, we would know more of that by now. Of course, there is the June 11th like press conference event from Xbox, like the showcase as they call it. So that could change that day. They may be showing something more about the game and tell that the game is coming out this year. I don't know, maybe in the late fall. That would be nice. That would be like a nice thing to happen this year after all the fiascos and all the bad press they've been having this year. That's one of the games. It's very important. There are so many other games that they showed like glimpse of, like Fable and Perfect Dark and State of Decay 3, and there were many games that we don't know so much about. They have so many studios right now, and you gotta think that they have to begin dropping games, right, at a nice cadence, because so the idea behind all these acquisition was to improve the game release cadence, right? Having games release I don't know, once in they said they wanted to have 4 AAA releases a year, for example. This has not happened up until now, and you gotta wonder when this will happen, right? It has been a while since the acquisition. It has been a while since Phil Spencer took command of Xbox, and nothing about this has happened up until now. So I don't know. Every year it's the same thing. We say, let's wait for the summer showcase, right? Let's wait for E3 and see what happens. And everyone, so the last couple of shows they had, I can definitely say they were underwhelming for many people, also for me. I was like there watching and waiting for a banger news, for some new stuff. Also, I want to see new IPs. I want to see like new creative efforts in the upper budget realm of game development, not only like AA and indies and stuff. There's a lot of creativity going on in Xbox Game Studios in the lower ranks of game development. But I want to see more creativity, more risk taking with AAA's budget game, right? I want to see that, and I want to see all these games that they announced like 3 years ago. How are they coming up? When they're coming out? A lot of every year we say a lot of Xbox future rides on these summer shows, but it always we always end up saying the same thing. It was an okay show. Still waiting for big stuff. I don't know. So Phil Spencer, the interview that Phil Spencer had on Kind of Funny Xcast was actually very humbling, because he was very humble, and it was very. You can see he wasn't feeling good about the whole situation, and he was blaming himself. And he was saying that he was like he was in a bad mood, and nothing would have like changed his mood during the interview. But he also said that he's very, very confident in the June showcase. Everybody at Xbox says that every year, so I don't wanna be the one to say this time around is gonna be different. But there's a hope right here in the back of my skull that what he was saying is actually true. Because the way he was saying it, it was like the only glimpse of hope in his eyes during the whole thing was the June showcase. He was confident that the June showcase will be a great event that would like at least restore a little bit of faith from the Xbox community into the Xbox brand. So I really hope for him and its team and everybody working there that they get back on their feet with this show, and I really hope they have some very good news. Not only like some nice reviews, even if like there are reviews for games that need to be like developed for, I don't know, 2 to 3 years before releasing. But I hope they have good news for this year. Xbox desperately need some good news for this year. We know that there are two big games coming already. So we got the Forza Motorsport, which will be good. We know it already. The fact about Forza, it's just that everybody knows it's that good, right? It's not exciting anymore. It's just like a given that the game is gonna be good. So as long as I think it's not fair to dismiss this game just because it's always that good, I think that's how it is perceived by the fan base, right? But it's important that they have more news. So we know that Forza Motorsport is coming and Starfield is coming. There's a lot of hype behind Starfield. Hopefully, it's not gonna disappoint. They will have a dedicated show about that after their showcase, and that's gonna be interesting to watch. But for me, the more important stuff is the stuff that we don't know anything about. I wanna see a big gameplay trailer for Hellblade and the release date. I wanna see something about Fable, please. We need to know. It's been a long time since we known about Fable. I wanna see Everwild. What the heck is going on with Everwild? We know that they've been reworking the game because they didn't find the fun in the formula they were going for. But I hope they are like at a point that they can show something about the game, something like more concrete, more about the actual gameplay of the game. Then I want to see State of Decay 3 should be shown at this point, I think, even though it's not something that I look forward to personally, but I think it's something that they need to show. They need to show some more about Perfect Dark. Even though I think the Perfect Dark is very far away from release, but I think they need to show something just to like let everybody know that the game is going along, at least, because the rumors of like the game being like shut down, reworked, people leaving the studio, then having Crystal Dynamics coming up and help. There are doubts going on about the game, the state of the game. So I think it would be good for them to show something working, a little glimpse of the gameplay of the game, just to tell people, guys, the game is going on. The game development is proceeding. Everything's great. Don't worry about that. It's gonna be a while, but it's gonna come out. And then some surprises, some big surprises, something that we can't even imagine, right? For me, there is one that I really want from them. Everybody knows it. It's not gonna happen. I want to close this episode on this note. It's not gonna happen. I want to see a new KI. Fuck. Give me a new KI. I don't know how it can be happening because actually their excuse is actually a good excuse this time around. They don't know, they don't have a studio to develop the new KI, and I believe them, because the studios that can do good fighting games are very, very few in the world. It's such a niche genre, and there are very, very few developers that can actually do a great work on the genre. And I think that it is difficult to find a studio that actually can do the game. So I'm not keeping my hopes up for it, but that would be like my lights out moment. I would like scream at the top of my lungs in front of the camera and drop something probably and break my desk. I don't know. I would do something stupid probably if I see the KI logo showing up during the showcase, but it's not gonna happen. Anyhow, the video's been going long enough. To summarize it, I would say they're not doomed, but they are in a really precarious position right now because of like the whole bad news train they had lately, right? So they are in a bad position, especially like compared to other publishers and platform holders. Even though they are doing some very smart things and very forward-looking things, because their strategy is actually probably the best strategy going forward. The problem is the execution of this strategy is not there yet, just because of the output of their game studios, right? First party has to be great. There's something that you cannot skimp on. Sony demonstrated that even though they have a very dated strategy, a very dated business model, like still counting on consoles sold and stuff like that, but they demonstrated they can keep the ship afloat just by releasing nice games exclusively, right, from their own stable of game studios. So I think that part you cannot skip. No matter the strategy you have, no matter the vision you have, you gotta have nice first-party games. That's the nature of gaming, right? So hopefully, they're gonna get back on their feet. Looking forward to June 11th, and we'll see. I will react live to the showcase on my Twitch channel. So make sure to follow me. I will keep you posted. And if you like the video, please subscribe, share, like, whatever you might want to do. And thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Ciao, 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 ciao.